Hey, namaste. I'm Kay. This is Ecstatic Self. Today, I want to talk about one of your superpowers that you may not be leveraging, and that is rest and sleep. Now, if you haven't before, I highly recommend you checking out this fantastic TED Talk called Sleep is Your Superpower, because it really goes into great depth about how when you don't get a full 8 or 9 hours of sleep, 7 or 8 hours of sleep, how your immune system functions, how your testosterone levels plummet, like or your brain stops processing, basically. It's amazing the things that sleep does. And I know for myself that when I was in my 20s, I used to be really frustrated that no matter how much I worked out, I never really saw anything really changing. And that simultaneously I was going on 3 hours or 4 hours of sleep most nights, almost every night. I'd be like, wow, you're really working against yourself, Kay. That might be part of it. But I want to go a little bit deeper than just the superficial of you need to get your few hours of sleep. I think sleep is a tremendously important tool for emotional processing. So I recently completed working on my book. There's nothing else I can do on it. It's off in the hands of other people now. And so for me, there's been this sense of letting go and mourning. And part of how I've been able to process and move on is sleeping, taking lots of naps. Like yesterday, I took two naps in the afternoon, and I'm usually not much of a napper. This morning, I woke up, I meditated, I got up at 6:30, wide awake, had a good 7, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep, meditated, and at the end of meditation, I'm like, wow, I'm going to pass out. So I went and lay down, and I slept for another 2 hours. I took my dog for a walk, came and ate breakfast, and I'm like, I need more sleep. I went and napped again for another hour. And society doesn't really hold space for that. Society tells us, oh, well, that's an issue. That's depression. That's blank. They want us to be, functional. They want us to always be doing the same thing day after day. You have this routine. You shouldn't deviate from it. And I think that's bullshit. I really think that our body has innate wisdom. And sleep and rest is one of the most powerful things that we can do to truly help ourselves heal. And diving into this idea of really needing sleep and rest and just downtime, one of the things I've been very cognizant of is even as a meditator and somebody who practices meditation daily and spirituality daily, where I sit for about an hour in the morning and I sit for about a half hour every night before bed, every single day. Even for me, there's been in the recent past this desire to not be with myself. That, okay, I'm sitting for my designated time. I have a goal to accomplish. Goal accomplished. I did a half hour of mantra. Yay! But then later in the day, I'll notice oh, you know what sounds really good is just sitting here on the rocking chair and just watching myself breathe. And I find that experience uncomfortable. It isn't, it's uncomfortable to just do nothing, right? There's no goal I'm trying to achieve. And yet I've been keenly aware that wow, it feels really healing when I'm doing that. It feels really healing when I allow myself to just lay here and rest and heal and process. But society doesn't give us space for that. One, because we're programmed, but two, because there's so many distractions. So I know for many of us, myself included, my rest day will still be watching a movie, reading a book, going for walks, talking to people, being on the phone, being on Facebook. But that stuff really doesn't allow your body to move into your mind, your spirit into full recuperation. Instead, we need to be willing to truly rest. I had a medical doctor once tell me that if you're sick, you can listen to music, but that's the only thing you should do. Don't play video games, don't watch TV, don't read. Because any of those things really does take your mind away from the process of trying to heal yourself. So how many of you find this also discomfortable? How many of you, even meditators, find it uneasy to truly just do nothing, to truly just rest, to allow yourself to sleep if you need to, or just lay there and breathe or think or look at the sky? I know it's something that I have to coach myself into doing because it's just not part of our culture. It's not part of what we do right now as people. So I'd like to hear your experience, and I'd also like to encourage you to join me and see if you can also just allow yourself to process. Give yourself the space that you need. Sleep a lot. Nap. Daydream. Sit there. I know for myself I feel weird. I feel like an old soul in a rocking chair with my little blanket. And that's okay. It really has been helping me come into wholeness. So I'm going to encourage you, please, turn off your phone, turn off the TV, close your book. Take a few minutes today and just be. I'm Kay. This is Ecstatic Self. Namaste.